many plants do I need to grow for my hanging basket? Well, we'll start off with a 12-inch hanging basket. So it's 12-inch plastic and a 12-inch wicker basket. Thing is, it depends when you're going to start growing them. If you want to grow them from plugs, so maybe you bought them online, you might be this size. You really need to have them in the basket or in pots by the middle of April, and then that'll give them 6 weeks to grow. You can make your basket in May. This is kind of what we would do. So you've got 2 lots of 3. So you've got 6 around the outside, 1 in the middle. And if you do that, it would grow and look a bit like this. So you've got 3 white, 3 pink, and a cinerary in the middle. If you're going to start off a little bit later and use bigger plants, you might only need to pot your basket in May. So then you can look at bedding plants. So you might buy packs of bedding like this and use them to make your hanging basket. Or patio plants. So what would happen is you'd only maybe need 3, possibly 4 patio plants around the outside and something in the middle. So you might only need 5 plants instead of 7. The other way is you may only grow a basket that has only one kind of plant in. So this is Calibricoa. This started off in April and we put 4 plugs in, 2 red and 2 yellow. You could get away with just using 2 plugs, but you tend to find that the colour only ends up on one side, so you might have one side red and one side yellow. So if we put 4 in, we can just make sure the colour is all the way around the basket. When you get to May, you may find yourselves that there's packs of begonia pendulas about. So this is a begonia pendula basket just starting. This has actually only got 2 plugs in it. You just put the 2 plugs back to back. With the begonia pendula plants, you can kind of tell which way they're going to grow. So where it points will be the outside, and the flat back of the leaf will be the inside. They have a habit of growing to one side, so if you plant them so that the point is facing outwards, they should carry on growing that way. So if you start early enough with your begonia pendula plugs, you could get away with 2. But I think you could see that you could just drop that pack of 4 in and get an instant basket. So the thing is, probably in 12-inch baskets, you're looking at somewhere between 7 or maybe 5 plants to fill a basket. If you got your plug plants, say, late and it was the beginning of May and they still need 6 weeks to grow, what you could do is double up. So instead of putting 6 around the outside, you might put 12 in, or say 8 or 10, just to fill it out that little bit quicker. So how many plants do I need in my 14-inch hanging basket? Thing is, this one, and it's a wicker basket, so we can only plant the top, so we're not planting the sides. It's got 3 lots of 3 around the edge, and 1 big plant in the middle. So the thing is, you need to make it with bigger plants. So patio plants that are a decent size, that will trail over the edge. There's really no good putting small plants in, you want them to grow and hang down. So it may be patio plants or bedding plants, packs of bedding that are a decent size. So what we've got is 9 plants around the outside, 1 in the middle. The plant in the middle has to get up to about this height. So that would be the thriller element of the hanging basket. Then the filler element is our verbenas, and the trailing element, spillers, would be surfinias and some million bells that will trail down and hang over the edge. So the middle really has to be a 13 centimetre, and it'll fill up to the top of the basket. You could make a 14-inch basket all of 1 plant. So in the 12-inch basket we got away with 3 or 4 plugs. With this you would maybe need 6 plugs to make sure that it was completely full. So how many plants do I need for my wire baskets? The thing is, wire baskets you can plant through the sides, so generally you get more plants in them. So this is a 12-inch basket here, and we've managed to get 6 plants round the base, and 6 round the top, and 1 more in the middle. So we've got 13 plants in this 12-inch basket. And if you remember, in our plastic basket we only got 7 plants in. So you've actually got more plants in your wire basket. If you get to a 14-inch, we've actually just put the same amount of plants in, but I think you can see we could have squeezed another plant in here where the gap in the liner is. So there's a gap here where the liner overlaps, where you could put another plant if you need to. So you could actually get 12 round the bottom and then 6 on top. So at the moment this one's got 13 in. These are begonia non-stop, so we know it'll make a ball shape, so we're not too bothered. But you could actually get 19 plants into this 14-inch hanging basket. The thing is, the only thing you can do with wire baskets with liners, you've got to use plug plants. So for instance, that's the size of begonia plug that we have to put in through the side. You haven't got enough room to squeeze one of these through without breaking them. So with wire baskets, you've got to give yourself time to grow them. So these begonia baskets have been growing for about 3 weeks now, and they'll need about 5 or 6 weeks in a greenhouse before we can put them outside. So if you're going to do wire baskets, make sure you have a sheltered spot in the garden, a conservatory or a cool greenhouse, where you can actually grow them in the basket. What if you don't want to do that, but you still like the effect of the wire basket? That's where our easy fill hanging basket comes in. That's why it was designed with holes. So you don't need to put little plugs through. You can put fully sized plants through the edge and you end up with an instant basket. So easy fill baskets are kind of a wire replacement using much bigger plants. But there are some things you need to know about them. So we have put another video on the website about how to plant easy fill hanging baskets and what to look out for. How many plants do I need for my patio pot? Well, it's very similar to hanging baskets. So this is a 12-inch patio pot, and if you're going to grow from plugs, which you could do if you start in April, you could get away. This is 6 plugs around the outside and 1 in the middle, and then this is what it grows into. So this patio pot has got 3 yellow petunias, 3 white lobelia, and 1 blue and white petunia in the middle. What if you can't grow them from plugs? You've got nowhere to grow them. You don't need to worry. You can buy packs of bedding that'll do the same thing. So you can buy packs of bedding like this and go for the same number. So you want 6 round the outside and something for the middle. You could end up with something like that. It's quite good just to do a contrast of colours. So this one's actually only got 4 petunia plugs in. So it's got 2 yellow and 2 hot pink, and it just mingles, and you can see it makes a mounded shape. Because the plants are crowded in the middle, they'll just carry on growing open, and then as they get to the edge, they fall over. So plants just naturally make a mounding shape. How many plants do I need for my bigger patio pots? The thing is, the patio pots get bigger, you need bigger and stronger plants. Or you can put more and more bedding plants in. But here's an example of a patio pot made with patio plants. So they're much stronger than, say, a bedding plant. They're more vigorous. So here we have white verbena for the middle, blue star petunia for the sides, and trailing along the front, we have dichondra. Because your pots are a bit taller, you can afford to put more trailing. And then this is going to be, the white verbena will end up about this high, with the blue petunias doing the filling. So the thriller part of it is the white verbena. The blue and white petunia will fill in round the sides. And the spiller is our silver dichondra. Here's an example of one with a sort of cool mix. So this is made out of patio plants again. We have a geranium for the middle. And then we have 2 white verbena, 2 blue and white lobelia, and some dichondra that will hang down the sides. So this is a kind of a cool theme. So in our 14-inch, we've got probably 9 plants round the top with 1 in the middle. So you're looking at 10 plants, but they need to be big, strong plants. So you're looking for big bedding, big patio plants, bacopa. You can also do more of a colour theme because you're buying them in flower, hopefully. And then this one is our pink theme one. So here we have a geranium for the middle, pink verbena, sky blue petunia, and just starting to flower, we have some pink million bells calibricoia that will hang over the sides. So because it's a bigger planter, you either put bigger plants in, but you need probably at least 10. And if you were doing it with, say, bedding plants, so you're starting off with maybe some smaller plants, you need to put enough in so that the basket will grow up and force itself out. So you could be looking at, say, 16 bedding plants to make it really full. What about troughs? How many plants do I need? Well, it's very similar to making a big planter. All we do is change the planting slightly to keep the height down, to keep it in balance with the trough. So here we have a trough which matches this pot that we showed you. So this 12-inch pot actually only has 7 plants in, but this trough has 2 rows of 5, so it's got 10 plants in. And you can see that it matches it quite nicely. So the lobelia will trail, petunias will trail over the front, and the blue and white will end up about here. So you'll end up with a trough that has kind of a dome shape. Also, this is a trough made out of patio plants. So it has more colour on at the moment, because what tends to happen is patio plants flower a little bit quicker than just bedding plants. So you'll see it matches our bigger pot. So this pot actually had 10 plants in. So this is a 12-inch pot. This one's a 14-inch pot. So in this one we had 10 plants. But actually, because the plants grow quite fast, in the trough, we've still only got 10 plants. So we have the similar planting, the geraniums, the verbena, and the petunias to trail over the front. So it's quite good to do a bit of a colour theme, I think. So on this one you can see we've gone yellow, blue, this one nice and pink. So the only difference between doing a trough and a pot is that maybe you need less trailing on a trough because it's much nearer the ground. So this would have dichondra in to trail over the edges. And the trough, we haven't bothered putting dichondra in, we've used a smaller flowered petunia, so it only trails a little bit. So you've planted up your containers, what do you do with them next? Thing is, you're bound to have damaged the roots a little bit, and even the stems, so they need a few days to recover. And the ideal place is a sheltered spot in your garden, possibly even in the shade, just to give them a chance to recover. If you had a cold greenhouse, maybe 4 or 5 days in there would be perfect. And then after that, all they really need is regular watering and feeding. All our potted containers, we put slow release fertilizer in. So the slow release fertilizer will last at least 3 or 4 months, and just give a regular feed. If you don't use slow release fertilizer, you just need to give them a liquid feed, maybe once or twice a week. The other thing that you have to do is when they finish flowering is take the dead flowers off. But you don't really want to just take, say, the flower petals off. You don't want to leave this little bit here, which is where the seed will start. So if you're going to deadhead it, make sure you take the seed part off as well. A lot of the modern varieties of patio plants don't actually set seeds, so they'll just carry on flowering naturally. But if you deadhead them, you'll get more and more flowers. If you got really, really wet weather and some of the petals got damaged, just take them off. Within a few days, they'll start growing again. If it got too big, just give it a light trim. Within 2 weeks, it'll be back into flower again. So the thing is, patio pots are really easy. They just need water and feed.